Hello everyone. So earlier this year I was in Buttermere hiking up Grasmoor, and I thought it would be nice to run through the route, potentially as some route planning inspiration, and just give some insight into what the route that I chose was and how it went on the day. We did have glorious weather with bright blue skies and really clear visibility, so the route may change depending on the time of year, the season, what your weather is like, so definitely bear that in mind when planning. So we started off driving to Lanthwaite Green Farm. This is on the 77 and the 77A bus route, which is really handy. It is also a good starting point to go off towards Loweswater and Melbreck. And what I like about it is it's slightly quieter and it's out of the way from Buttermere, just a little bit towards Cockermouth, which means there's a little bit more parking than you'll find in Buttermere, which can be incredibly busy, particularly at peak times of the year, including Easter, bank holidays and the summer holidays. So once we'd left the car at Lanthwaite Green Farm, there was a couple of car parking spaces, more like verges I guess, along there. We headed up towards Gasgale Gill. This was following Liza Beck, which had a surprising amount of water in it considering it had been quite dry, and there were a couple of points where we had to cross over the beck and it was flowing quite quickly. Very manageable to cross with a couple of sticks, but it did take a little bit of patience making sure that we got over with no falling in or slipping into the water. As you reach the top of the gill, you reach a plateau area underneath Sand Hill, Crag Hill and Grasmoor summit, and it's quite a wide area and you don't necessarily get any views. You're just sort of walking between, knowing that there are these giants looming around you. There are different ways up to Grasmoor summit, but the route that we took was to continue on this path, and then there becomes a point where you start to head up an ascent which looks deceptively steep. Actually, it goes on for quite a long time, and you get quite tired and you realise once you've got to the top of that it's not actually the summit, and there's quite a long stretch to go, which flattens out before you actually get to the summit cairn. The views here are phenomenal over Buttermere, Red Pike, Haystacks, Melbreck, down out towards Cockermouth as well, and it's such a spectacular viewpoint. It's a really big summit, so there's quite a lot of room for to take lots of pictures and to walk around and to find a nice spot for lunch as well if you so wish. So once you've reached the summit, the descent is back down the same way that you came up. So it goes back along the long summit plateau and then down the initial ascent, which again is quite deceptively steep going down, and you then come to the point where you start to descend down Whiteless Pike, which is sort of forms part of Grasmoor. This is a lovely descent. You get a really nice perspective of the Whiteless Pike, and it sort of does I don't know the word for that, but when you go sort of down to go up, but it really has a fantastic optics, sort of taking in the whole valley. And I think it's actually quite nice to go down that way rather than to go up that way, because I think the views are just continuous as you walk down. And we bumped into a really nice little sheepdog called Ted, who just wanted a rest really, did not want to be going up the mountain that day. There's also great views over Robinson, and you can see sort of over the Newlands Horseshoe as well, which is really spectacular. So the path slopes under Runnerdale Knots and continues up the road back towards Lanthwaite Green Farm. This ended up being about 16 kilometres and took us just over 5.5 hours, so it was quite a big walk, and you would need probably quite a lot of sunlight if you were wanting to make sure that you completed it all, which is why the option to stop in Buttermere and get the bus back is really good if you wanted to break it up a little bit more and just take off that last finishing leg of the journey. I would really recommend this walk. I felt like it wasn't too difficult. The visibility obviously really helped, but the navigation was pretty straightforward and didn't feel at 2 points that it was too challenging. It was just more the distance and having the stamina to be able to maintain that length of time and sort of keep hiking and ensure that we sort of got back in time to be able to head back towards Keswick where we were staying. I really like this part of the Lake District because I think whilst Buttermere can be incredibly busy, I feel like just going slightly further out, it does feel a little bit quieter than the Newlands Round, which is also sort of in a similar area, and also Fleetwith Pike and Haystacks on the other side of Buttermere. I hope to make more of these route inspiration videos to help show the terrain and demonstrate what the path and route was like and my overall thoughts. I felt like this route was really enjoyable and it took in a lot of the area. It was just mainly the distance. That was quite a lot, but overall thoroughly enjoyed it and hope to be back on Grasmoor sometime soon. Thank you so much for watching this video and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!